Note: this game generates a random crime scene scenario on each play. Oh, isn't that cool? What's not cool is not being able to change it correctly so that it actually matches up with OBS in your computer screen, huh?
It was a cold night in June.
Oh.
I had boarded a train to East End on what seemed to be just another normal night like any other. In all the world, on all the nights, on all the trains, I had to get on this one. I had to ride the Murder Express.
I see. Well, let's play game. Oh, I'm this grizzled man.
What was that?
By the way, if you can't tell, this is the same game by the guy who made Aqua Creep, and oh, I can just burst through doors like the fucking Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah! What's going on here?
Oh my god. He's been murdered.
Oh good lord, they cut his fucking hand off!
Looks like the victim suffered a puncture wound to the chest. Seems like it only took one to do the job.
And the hand?
Good lord. The victim's hand has been completely severed. It appears to have been done with a blade. Possibly the same one that caused the fatal stab wound to the chest.
And what about this?
The victim's wallet has been cleaned out. Typical indicator the killer was motivated by greed.
There's a killer on the loose. While searching, please be careful. Anyone else when the lights are out. Okay. Hey, you! See anything unusual?
I'm pretty sure I saw Dust carrying a rope before we got on board.
Did the victim have any enemies?
I could hear Bundy and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
Any other information?
Knowing a suspect was carrying a certain weapon type that matches the victim's wounds doesn't guarantee guilt. Other suspects may have also been carrying the same type of weapon. It does breed suspicion, however.
Any other info?
Knowing a suspect was carrying a certain weapon type that matches the victim's wounds doesn't guarantee guilt. Other suspects may have also been carrying the same type of weapon. It does breed suspicion, however.
Very interesting. Interesting indeed. So, S. Okay, S to cancel. Oh my god, it's dark out. Anyone could be a murderer. You. See anything unusual?
I saw Berkowitz walking around with a knife earlier.
Berkowitz! Did the victim have any enemies?
I overheard Bundy and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Any other info you know?
That's all I know.
I see. So, who is this man? I mean, I would like to know. Ah, there you are. Gacy! Suspect has a key.
I found this key on the floor earlier. Not sure what it's for, though.
Handcuffs key. Have you seen anything unusual?
I noticed Fisher wandering around with a pipe earlier.
No, a pipe couldn't have been a good weapon. Did the victim have any enemies?
I could hear Fisher and Mr. Duval shouting over something earlier. They were quite loud about the whole affair.
Any other info?
I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to say with any real certainty, Inspector.
Wait a minute. That means Duval is the one that's been murdered. Oh God! Just walk
It was
over.
a cold night in June. I had boarded a train to East End on what seemed to be just another night like any other.
What sort of Gary's Mod shit was that? Just 1 second I'm fine, the next I get fucking clobbered in the face with a crowbar.
Oh my god. He's been murdered.
Oh, what
the
the?
latch to the suitcase is busted open. Seems like whoever got in didn't have a key. Not like it slowed them down any. My guess is, whoever killed this man did so to get at whatever was inside.
And the head wound?
It would appear the victim's head was beaten in by a blunt object. A pipe or a baseball bat from the looks of it.
Or
Unless I missed my guess, It looks like we're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
Okay, and what about the
The
wallet?
victim's wallet has been cleaned out. Typical indicator the killer was motivated by greed.
Okay. Oh. Hold on, Alright. Did you see anything unusual?
I'm pretty sure I saw Fisher carrying a pipe before we got on board.
Fisher. Did the victim have any enemies?
I could hear Kemper and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
Any other info?
That's all I got, Inspector.
Now just double check. It was...
I'm pretty sure I saw Fisher carrying a pipe before we got on board.
Okay. That'll be all. You have now recovered the murder weapon. A suspect can be accused of the crime using the journal. Okay. Could be Fisher. No. We need more facts first. And a longer video runtime. Tell me about that key you have.
Mr. Duval gave me this key to look after until we arrived in East End.
Okay, so it couldn't have just been her, because the handcuff was still there and the briefcase was still there. See anything unusual?
I saw Bundy walking around with a pipe earlier.
Wait a minute,
I overheard Topon and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Any other
That's
info?
all I know.
Okay, so Bundy had a pipe. Berkowitz. Okay, one says they saw a guy with a pipe. The other says they saw Gacy. What'd you see?
I noticed Dahmer wandering around with a gun earlier.
Dahmer? Wait, what's he doing on this train?
I could hear Topon and Mr. Duval shouting over something earlier. They were quite loud about the whole affair.
Okay, any other info?
I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to say with any real certainty, Inspector.
Okay, so we've got fucking Gacy. We've got Dahmer. Oh, shit, Dahmer. See anything unusual, you fucking man-eater?
I think I saw Bundy brandishing a pipe earlier.
Bundy? Did the victim have any enemies?
I believe I heard Bundy and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
I don't like how calm his voice is. Any other info?
Have you thoroughly checked the crime scene? Sometimes, the biggest clues can be the hardest to spot.
You might be right. Thanks. Thanks, you fucking person eater. Now then.
I saw Bundy walking around with a pipe
Wait,
earlier.
so you both say you saw Bundy walking around with the pipe around earlier. So that just has to be it. Berkowitz. That's it. It has to be Bundy.
Damn.
Fuck.
Should have looked for more clues.
Berkowitz!
Well, better luck next time.
It was Berkowitz! I knew I should have
It was
investigated
a cold
further.
night in June. I
Hey.
had boarded a train to East End on what seemed to be just another normal night like any other. What was that?
Come on, faster, damn it. Now let's see how the murder took place.
My God, he's been murdered.
Oh my god, this time he's been outright strangulated.
The latch to the suitcase is busted open. Seems like whoever got in didn't have a key. Not like it slowed them down any. My guess is, whoever killed this man did so to get at whatever was inside. The
Wallet?
victim's wallet has been cleaned out. Typical indicator the killer was motivated by greed.
It's always empty. What gives? And this.
Looks like the victim was strangled to death. Markings around the neck seem to back that much up. Now, the question is, why?
Okay, so it could have possibly been a rope. Alright, hold on. Berkowitz, you shitty bastard. Give me that key.
Oh, well, I saw this key on the floor earlier. What do you think it goes to?
Handcuff key. See anything unusual?
I'm pretty sure I saw Fisher carrying a gun before we got on board.
Alright, did he have any enemies?
I could hear Kemper and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
Any other info?
Knowing a suspect was carrying a certain weapon type that matches the victim's wounds doesn't guarantee guilt. Other suspects may have also been carrying the same type of weapon. It does breed suspicion, however.
Thank you. I wish I had listened to you earlier. You there! Ramirez, who's probably based off a serial killer. Have you seen anything odd?
I saw Gacy walking around with a rope earlier.
Alright. Did he have any enemies?
I thought I heard Kemper and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Oh god, please don't be... You know what? I'll just keep him... Okay, the lights are back. Any other info?
Knowing the motivation for the crime might help narrow down who committed the murder.
Alright, they obviously wanted whatever the hell he had in that briefcase. Wait, did he say it was Gacy? Kemper! Did you see anything unusual?
What did I see? Well, I guess I remember Mr. Dahmer walking around with a knife earlier.
Well, that's not surprising, it's Dahmer, but did he have any enemies?
I did see Miss Topan looking at Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Yeah, but you could be trying to throw me off. Okay, Kemper and who?
I did see Miss Topan looking at Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Any other info?
Well, I don't know anything else, Inspector.
Kemper and Miss Toban. Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Toban. You have a key.
Mr. Duval entrusted me this key to look out for until we arrived in East End.
Suitcase key. Wait. She could have gotten the key off him. See anything unusual?
I'm quite certain I witnessed Dennehy gallivanting about with a gun earlier.
Did the victim have any enemies?
I witnessed Berkowitz staring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Oh no. Any other info?
I'm afraid I cannot say for certain. My apologies, Inspector.
I see. It's a true mystery indeed. What about you, Fisher? God, that is sight for sore eyes. Did you see anything bizarre?
I'm certain I saw Berkowitz waving around a rope earlier.
Berkowitz. Did the victim have any enemies?
I definitely heard Ramsey and Mr. Duval talking about something earlier. They seemed pretty mad with each other.
I see. Any other info?
There's a decent enough chance Mr. Duval was killed over that briefcase he was carrying. Then again, it's possible it could just be a red herring.
You're right. Or you could be trying to throw me off my game! No, I don't. I don't trust you. Oh god, this is the end of the card. I would have been fucked. Topan. Ah, Kemper. So one of you. Oh, Ramirez. No. That's about it. Have I talked to you before? No, probably not. Berkowitz. Could be a red herring. What other info did she say? Anzi? See anything odd?
I saw Doss walking around with a rope earlier.
Did he have any enemies?
I overheard Ramirez and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Who'd you say had the rope again?
I saw Doss walking around with a rope earlier.
Okay, that's it. I've got to get my fucking app out to fucking write this shit down. Okay, so let's see. Who was it again that had...
I saw Doss walking around with a
Doss
rope earlier.
had rope. Okay. Any other info?
That's all I know.
Alright, well, thank you. Wait, hold on. Ramsey! Oh. Ramsey said... Doss had Doss had a rope. Okay, and what about you, Gacy? Did you see anything bizarre?
I noticed Ramirez wandering around with a knife earlier.
And the victim have any enemies?
I remember seeing Doss looking real hard at Mr. Duval's briefcase before we got on the train.
Really? Wait, who'd you say it was?
I noticed Ramirez.
No, not that,
wandering
not
around
that, not
with
that.
a knife earlier.
Gacy said Doss was staring at briefcase. That's more evidence against Mr. Doss. Any other info?
Given how the other passengers have a tendency to pry into one another's affairs, well, it would be advisable to ask around to see what they know.
Why, thank you, disgraced serial killer John Wayne Gacy. What about you, Dahmer? See anything suspicious?
I think I saw Gacy brandishing a rope earlier.
Wait a minute. Dahmer said saw Gacy. No, not fact. Gacy with the rope. Did he have any victims? I
believe I heard Kemper and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
Alright, and any other info?
If I knew more, Inspector, I would tell you.
I see. That's all for now. Go back to biz. You there, Doss! Seen anything unusual?
Well, I can recall seeing Topon holding a gun earlier.
Not useful. What about enemies?
We thought I might have heard Kemper and Mr. Duval arguing over something earlier. They seemed pretty ticked off at one another.
Wow, this fucking Duval guy has a ton of enemies. Is that all?
I'm not really sure I know anything of real value, Inspector.
Yeah, I sort of figured. Have a good one. And the rope. Wait, Bundy. What have you seen?
I believe I saw Ramsey walking around with a gun earlier.
Dude, it's America. You gotta get used to that. But did he have any enemies?
I could hear Gacy and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier.
Bundy.
It seemed pretty intense.
Bundy heard Gacy and victim arguing. Any other info?
I'd tell you more if I knew more, Inspector.
Oh, why thank you, murderer. And the rope! This proof covers that suspect can be accused of the crime journal. Okay, thanks. Wait, Dennisy, did you see anything bizarre?
I believe I saw a Fisher waving around a gun earlier.
I'll tell you what I told Dahmer. This is America. Now what else? Did the victim have any enemies?
I witnessed Ramirez and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
Okay, and is that all? Anything else?
Circumstantial clues mean nothing without hard evidence to back it up. If you want to formally accuse a suspect, you must first locate the murder weapon.
Thank you. And cart. You have to be careful. Dahmer. No, that's it, Dahmer. I've talked to you. Gacy! Now, did you?
I noticed Ramirez wandering around with a knife earlier.
Okay, and...
I remember seeing Doss looking real hard at Mr. Duval's briefcase before we got on the train.
So, Doss staring at it, that's it. Saw Doss... Ramsey, we've definitely talked to Ramsey. What about you, Berkowitz? You had the handcuff key?
I'm pretty sure I saw Fisher carrying a gun before we got on board.
I know talking to all these people again seems redundant, but I have to double check.
I could hear Kemper and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
Alright, and what about any other info?
Knowing a suspect was carrying a certain weapon type that matches the victim's wounds doesn't guarantee guilt. Other suspects may have also been carrying the same type of weapon. It does breed suspicion, however.
Why, thank you. Alright. Ooh. Ramirez.
I saw Gacy walking around with a rope earlier.
Wait, really? Hold on. Ramirez saw Gacy with rope. Oh shit, now this adds more. Did he have any enemies?
I thought I heard Kemper and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
And any other information?
Knowing the motivation for the crime might help narrow down who committed the murder.
Alright, that'll be all. Oh god, there's fucking big-ass Kemper. Anything on you? Okay, no, we've talked to you already. Oh god, Topan. Anything? Okay, she was trusted with the suitcase key. Anything unusual?
I'm quite certain I witnessed Dennehy gallivanting about with a gun earlier.
Yeah. Have any enemies?
I witnessed Berkowitz staring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Well, yeah, I mean, a guy with a briefcase handcuffed to him would be pretty bizarre. That is all. What about you, Fisher, you crazy woman?
I'm certain I saw Berkowitz waving around a rope earlier.
Wait, what? There's 3 suspects now. Fisher saw Big B with rope. Okay, I can't exit out of this conversation. I'll fear that she's gonna bash my brains in as soon as I turn around. Have any enemies?
I definitely heard Ramsey and Mr. Duval talking about something earlier. They seemed pretty mad with each other.
Alright, any other
There's
info?
a decent enough chance Mr. Duval was killed over that briefcase he was carrying. Then again, it's possible it could just be a red herring.
I see. Well, thank you. You're definitely not the murderer because you didn't try to kill me. So Pan, you said you saw...
I'm quite certain I witnessed
Yeah. Not
gallivanting
that.
about with a gun earlier.
The other stuff.
I witnessed Berkowitz staring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Pan. No. That's with 2 P's. Topan saw the big G staring at his briefcase. Staring at briefcase. Okay, so from what we've got, there is a 50-50 chance that it could be either Gacy? No, actually. Antivirus, fuck off! I don't want more Windows Defender bullshit, okay? Get out of here. Well, according to my evidence, there can only be one man responsible for this murder. Gacy! Wait. Bundy.
Damn.
What?!
Should have looked for more clues. Well, better
Bundy?!
luck next time.
Okay, none of the fucking evidence I recorded said that it was Bundy, okay? I am calling bull right now. I actually got a fucking thing. I had a fucking list out here just typing all this shit out, only to find out that no, it was fucking Bundy. Even though there was no possible evidence leading to Bundy. What sort of horse shit is this? Select all... No. Just cut it all out. Alright, let's retry again.
It was a cold night in June.
Yeah, just...
I had boarded a train to East End. It seemed to be... What was that?
Let's just go.
Oh my god. He's been murdered.
Well, let's see.
The latch
Briefcases
to the
before.
suitcase is busted open. Seems like whoever got in didn't have a key. Not like it slowed them down any. My guess is, whoever killed this man did so to get at whatever was inside.
Alright,
The
wallet.
victim's wallet has been cleaned out. Typical indicator the killer was motivated by greed. Victim died from a gunshot wound to the head. Yeah, that'd do it all right. Now, the questions become, where's the gun? And who pulled the trigger?
And what was even inside the briefcase? Oh, hey, a gun. See anything
I'm
unusual?
pretty sure I saw Denny carrying a pipe before we got on board.
So, have any enemies?
I could hear Fisher and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
Any other info?
Knowing a suspect was carrying a certain weapon type that matches the victim's wounds doesn't guarantee guilt. Other suspects may have also been carrying the same type of weapon. It does breed suspicion, however.
Yeah, I know, because I learned the fucking hard way last time.
Mr. Duval asked me if I could hang onto this key for him during the ride to East End.
Alright, thank you. Who else? You there, Ramsey. See anything bizarre?
I saw Ramirez walking around with a gun earlier.
Okay, hold on. Let me type this out. Ramsey. So, Ramirez with gun. Did he have any enemies?
I overheard Ramirez and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
And you heard Mr. Duval arguing with Ramsey. Ramirez argue with victim. Alright, thank you for your time. You there, Gacy. See anything bizarre?
I noticed Dennehy wandering around with a pipe earlier.
Yeah, classic Dennehy. Did the victim have any enemies?
I remember seeing Doss looking real hard at Mr. Duval's briefcase before we got on the train.
No, I don't need any other info. Thank you. What about Dahmer? See anything bizarre?
I think I saw Gacy brandishing a pipe earlier.
No, we're looking for a gun. But do you have any enemies?
I witnessed Dennehy glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Very interesting. That's all. Thank you, though. Now, Das! You have a key, do you, now?
Well, I saw this key on the floor earlier. Do you think it goes to anything important?
A handcuff key. See anything odd?
Well, I can recall seeing Gacy holding a pipe earlier.
Okay, so 2 people can confirm that Gacy had a pipe, so Gacy is innocent. Now, did the victim have any enemies?
Well, I saw Dennehy glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase before back at the train station.
Wait, that's a DOS. You weirdo.
It would probably be in the killer's best interest to pretend like they didn't know as much as they do. Might be something to consider, Inspector.
Why, thank you. Okay, anyone on this train not a serial killer? Bundy? See anything odd?
I believe I saw Ramsey walking around with a pipe earlier.
Okay, so any enemies?
I could hear Fisher and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. It seemed pretty intense.
Okay, thank you. Oh god, you're not a murderer, are you? Anything bizarre?
I believe I saw a Fisher waving around a pipe earlier.
Okay. Any
I
enemies?
witnessed Dahmer and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
Really? Thank you. Oh god, this... Gacy, we talked to Gacy. Ramsey. Dead dude. Berkowitz. Yeah, I think we talked... Okay, we talked to you before. We got the info. Ramirez. No, we talked to you before, definitely. Oh god. Kemper, see anything
What
bizarre?
did I see? Well, I guess I remember Miss Fisher walking around with a pipe earlier.
Alright, victims have any
I
enemies?
think I heard Miss Ramsey and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. It sounded like they were pretty mad at each other.
No, really. Alright, thank you very much. Topan, see anything bizarre?
I'm quite certain I witnessed Kemper gallivanting about with a rope earlier.
Okay. Any enemies?
I believe I overheard Ramirez and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier.
Oh, so...
It sounded like a rather toxic conversation.
Heard... Who now?
I believe I overheard Ramirez and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. It sounded like a rather toxic conversation.
Oh, hold on here. Topan saw Mr. Ramirez arguing with the victim. Okay. Why, thank you. Now what about you, creature? Oh, God! It was you! Topan, you slut!
It was a cold night in June.
God
Born
damn
and
it!
trained at East End on what seemed to be just another normal night like any other.
No, I'm not gonna stop until I get one right.
What was that?
I'm not gonna stop till I get one right. I swear.
My God.
Alright,
He's
let's...
been murdered. The victim's wallet has been cleaned out. Typical indicator the killer. It would
was
appear the
motivated by
victim's head
greed.
was beaten in by a blunt object.
Pipe.
A pipe, or a baseball bat from the looks of it. Unless I missed my guess, it looks like we're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, no. And a still open
The latch to the
briefcase.
suitcase is busted open. Seems like whoever got in didn't have a key. Not like it slowed them down any. My guess is, whoever killed this man did so to get at whatever was inside.
Alright.
I saw Gacy walking around with a gun earlier.
Don't care.
I noticed Ramirez watching Mr. Duvall's briefcase as we bought it earlier.
Okay, so... Ramsey saw Ramirez watching briefcase. Alright, thank you. That'll be all. Oh God, please be no murders. What about you, Gacy? Anything bizarre?
I noticed Ramsey wandering around with a knife earlier.
Any enemies?
I could hear Berkowitz and Mr. Duval shouting over something earlier. They were quite loud about the whole affair.
Alright, that's all. Dahmer, you were saw with a knife.
I think I saw Bundy brandishing a pipe earlier.
Wait, really? Dahmer saw Bundy with a pipe. Now, did the victim have any enemies?
I witnessed Dennehy glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Uh-huh. Any other info?
Have you thoroughly checked the crime scene? Sometimes, the biggest clues can be the hardest to spot.
Not really with those giant magnifying glasses. Oh no, I bet it's you. You were coming towards me.
Well, I can recall seeing Gacy holding a gun earlier.
Wait a minute!
I saw Ramirez glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase before back at the train station.
Any other
I'm
information?
not really sure I know anything of real value, Inspector.
Okay, so far, Doss, possible suspect. Alright, thank you. What about you, Bundy? Oh, you have a key, do ya?
I can assure you, Mr. Duval gave me this key to look after during his travels. He seemed worried someone might be after it.
Alright, see anything bizarre?
I believe I saw Doss walking around with a rope earlier.
Mm-hmm. Did the victim have any enemies?
I could hear Berkowitz and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. It seemed pretty intense.
Yeesh, you two just not talk normally, do you? What about you, Dennehy?
I believe I saw Ramirez waving around a pipe earlier.
Okay, hold on. Dennehy saw Ramirez with a pipe. And yet there's a pipe right next to you, and you just victim.
I
no.
witnessed Ramsey and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
I see. That's all. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do a Hail Mary here. Don't you fucking dare. They say they saw Doss. Berkowitz. Pan. That's it. I'm saying it was... No, not yet, not yet. Still gotta get all the answers first. Gotta talk to you. I haven't talked to Berkowitz according to this. This dead guy with... You have a key.
Oh, well, I saw this key on the floor earlier. What do you think it goes to?
Handcuff key. See anything unusual?
I'm pretty sure I saw Gacy carrying a gun before we got on board.
Okay,
I could hear Dahmer and Mr. Duval really going at it earlier. Not sure what they were arguing over, but it seemed intense.
So it could possibly be Berkowitz. The big B. Ramirez, hold on, let me access. Ramirez.
I saw Gacy walking around with a gun earlier.
Okay. So... You saw Gacy with a gun. God damn it! You little shit!
It was a cold night in June.
I didn't even
boarded
see it
the
get
train.
dark. What the hell?
It seemed to be just another... What was that?
You can't keep fucking sideswiping me like this. You're just fucking cheap.
My God.
Let's see. Oh, it's not open.
Looks like the victim handcuffed the suitcase to their wrist. Guess he really didn't want to risk losing whatever was inside. The murder doesn't seem to be motivated by money. Curious.
I can't remember that guy's name, but that's actually kind of funny.
Looks like the victim was strangled to death. Markings around the neck seem to back that much up. Now, the question is, why?
Now here's my logic. We just have to find whoever has the key. Has a key.
I found this key on the floor earlier. I'm certain I've no idea what it unlocks.
Alright, let me just, record this. Ramsey had a key. No, mistyped that. Ramsey found handcuff key. Okay. See anything bizarre?
I saw Doss walking around with a pipe earlier.
I see.
I overheard Ramirez and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Alright.
Looks like the victim handcuffed the suitcase to their wrist. Guess he really didn't want to risk losing whatever was inside.
What about you? Nope, no key on you. I will take this rope. You there, Ramirez. No, you don't have a key. What about you? Nope, no key. You there, Topan, no key. Okay. No, run faster than that, you fribble. No key on her. Oh, so they're all in their own weird designated little carts. You there, Gacy, no key on you, okay, fuck off. What about you, Dahmer, no key, okay, fuck off, you man-eater. Doss, no key, that's shocking. Bundy, no key. Okay, this woman's definitely gotta have a key. Aha!
Oh, this key? Well, you see, Mr. Duval wanted me to hang on to this key for him. He felt he shouldn't be in possession of it until we arrived in East End.
Oh, I see. Anything unusual?
I believe I saw Bundy waving around a knife earlier.
And have any
I
enemies?
saw Bundy walking at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we got on the train earlier.
Okay, so it can't be Duval.
If I hear anything, Inspector, I'll be sure to let you know.
Okay, but I can't, like... I'm not... Okay, now that... No. Now that's light out, we can go. Maybe we can unlock this briefcase of mysteries and see what it possesses. Can I open it now?
Looks like the victim handcuffed the suitcase to their wrist. Guess he really didn't want to risk losing whatever was inside.
Seriously? Nothing? Alright, guess just talking to people normally. You there, Gacy, see anything bizarre?
I noticed Kemper wandering around with a rope earlier.
Okay, so Gacy saw Kemper with rope. Gacy saw Kemper with rope. Thank you. Have any enemies?
I remember seeing Dennehy looking real hard at Mr. Duval's briefcase before we got on the train.
So we know that wasn't the motivation, so that does not matter. What about you?
I think I saw Ramirez brandishing a gun earlier.
Uh-huh, and have any enemies?
I believe I heard Gacy and Mr. Duval fighting about something earlier. They seemed pretty angry with each other.
Okay, hold on. The rope. No, fuck off, Google Assistant. Saw. Gacy arguing. Alright, let's keep going. What about you? See anything bizarre?
Well, I can recall seeing Kemper holding a rope earlier.
Aha! Das saw Kemper with the rope. Now, any victim have any enemies?
I saw Dennehy glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase before Brock at the train station.
Saw Gacy glaring at the case. But we know that can't possibly be the case, no pun intended, considering that we know that that's not what the murderer was after. Now, what about you, Bundy?
I believe I saw Ramirez walking around with a gun earlier.
Ugh, that's still creepy. Victim have any enemies?
I remember seeing Topon staring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
No, please don't be No, I don't know if you're a murderer or not. What do you...
I believe I saw Bundy waving around a knife earlier.
Okay.
I saw Bundy gawking at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we got on the train earlier.
Okay, so nothing useful here. What about... Okay, Dahmer saw that. What about you? We talked to Gacy. Bram, talk to her. Berkowitz, see anything bizarre?
I'm pretty sure I saw Fisher carrying a rope before we got on board.
Oh, really? Big B saw Fisher with rope. Do you have any enemies?
I remember Topon seemed pretty interested in Mr. Duval's briefcase back at the train station.
Yeah, not useful. See you. What about you?
I saw Berkowitz walking around with a rope earlier.
Really? Big B... No, hold on. Ramirez saw Big B with a rope. Anything else?
I thought I heard Gacy and Mr. Duval arguing earlier. It sounded pretty heated.
Gacy arguing. Okay, so let's measure up the facts against Gacy. Let's see. Gacy... Oh, wait, hold on. Gacy saw Kemper with a rope. But... Oh, never mind. Nothing about Gacy. I was thinking about a totally different case. What about you, Kemper? See anything bizarre?
What did I see? Well, I guess I remember Mr. Gacy walking around with a gun earlier.
Gacy with a gun. Anything unusual?
I did see Mr. Berkowitz looking at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Gacy with a gun. So all we need to do is find someone who says they saw otherwise, and that might be it. So Pan, see anything bizarre?
I'm quite certain I witnessed Gacy gallivanting about with a gun earlier.
Kemper and Pan. Victims have any enemies?
I witnessed Dahmer staring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we boarded earlier.
Alright, oh god, please don't be a murderer. Okay, now it's safe. See anything bizarre?
I'm certain I saw Danaher waving around a knife earlier.
Uh-huh, and did the victim have any enemies?
I remember Bundy glaring at Mr. Duval's briefcase as we bought it earlier.
I see. Any other info?
There's a decent enough chance Mr. Duval was killed over that briefcase he was carrying. Then again, it's possible it could just be a red herring.
Well, you see, the money was all there, and Duval himself still had the briefcase, closed. So, looking at it possibly in logic. Let me look over my facts real quick. No one can locate what Dahmer and Topan had. God, please don't be a murderer, dude. God damn it! I'm so fucking done! Every time I fucking turn around, I get murdered by some random retard!
Boarded a train to East End on what
No.
seemed to be
No,
just
fuck
another
it. No,
normal
I'm
night
done.
like any other.
I'm sick
In
of this
all the
game.
world,
No,
all the
fuck it.
nights, on all-
Fuck it. No, fuck it. You want to play this shit show of game yourself, fine, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a little unfair. I couldn't even Look, the one guy was deciding wasn't even the killer. It was fucking Berkowitz. I'm just fucking done with this game. Just play it yourself. This has been Boney McBonerton here with the Shitty Murder Express. Have a good day now and goodbye. Oh, and if you actually want to try to play this game yourself, link is in the description.